Okay, I'm just as likely to shit a balloon as I am to become a dolphin.
Those are things that could happen?
Jerry, everything is as likely as anything else.
Final Desmithation is a Rick and Morty episode that Morty is barely even in. Instead, we get a classic Rick and Jerry adventure with him dressed like Morty. Like the movie the title is Cronenberged from, this one is also about fate and whether or not you can craft it or fight against it, especially if your fate may or may not be to have sex with your mom. Did that sentence just sound very off-putting and out of place to you? Well, then go watch this episode and then you'll see I'm not being inappropriate and ruining everything. I'm highly on topic, thank you. That said, this is your spoiler warning. This whole episode will be spoiled as we break it down, and if you aren't okay with that, you were warned. Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's recap a little. The Smith family is having dinner at Panda Express when they get their fortune cookies.
You know, fortune cookies only come true if you eat the cookie first.
I've never heard that rule before, and I am an Asian American person, but whatever. It's important and relevant to the episode, so I'll allow it. Everyone's fortune is boring except Jerry's, which says he'll have sex with his mom, and he panics. The whole family makes fun of him and goes on a trip to the zoo while Rick stays behind with Jerry, and they realize there's something to the probability waves around Jerry, so they investigate.
These are 2 shoe boxes. Both are empty, but I wrote your mother's name on the inside of one.
What? God, no. If you think for a second I'm gonna put my...
Good, I didn't want to do this anyway.
One bloody shootout at the Panda Express later, Rick and Jerry wind up at a very weirdly high-tech, high-security, cash-flush fortune cookie factory. Rick uses his various bio-gadgets to help them infiltrate, where they discover the world's richest people and Billy Zane are gathered to watch a presentation from Gwyneth Paltrow Chung, who seems not un-Gwyneth Paltrow-like, especially when they realize she's running a bullshit-sounding lifestyle brand.
Look at me's. Every suit I wear is virgin white. I sleep on a bed of loose grains and begin every morning by dragging my perfect vagina across Chinese silvergrass.
Except it's different because this one's for real. Turns out she's trading incredibly good fortunes for big investments, and they actually work because she can control fate. The benefactors eat and discover good fortunes. The punished eat and discover they'll be mangled.
Your penis will be mangled by a frozen yogurt machine at the UN. I know that machine. This would sound impossible to a layman, but to me it rings inevitable.
Rick, of course, very much wants this fate-controlling power for himself, so he discovers the source of that power turns out to be a Ligurian, a giant alien with the ability to strip randomness from space-time and leave behind super-dense pockets of energy that bend entropy toward definable outcomes by pooping out fortune cookies. Fortune cookies are alien poop, and the little papers inside get infused with the power to make the fortunes real and control fate. Since most of the fortunes are benign, who cares? But an old man at the factory who wants to marry the fate poop alien wrote the weird one for Jerry in an attempt to get someone to rescue them, which is good because it means Jerry doesn't necessarily have to bang his own mom. Doubly good because someone else is probably still doing that.
Jacob is your mother's lover. I watch them, sometimes from a chair and sometimes from a closet, almost always dressed as Superman.
Yeah, remember that? We did, unfortunately. Anyway, a firefight ensues with prototype and blank fortune cookies being fired into people's mouths, resulting in Pokemon bloodbending carnage with a robotic dinosaur.
I am the son of God.
Rick tries to eat battle fortunes, but he gets useless ones like "you will make a new friend." An important note, you're basically unkillable if you have an unresolved fortune, but as soon as it's resolved, you are mortal as hell again. Rick resolves Gwyneth's fortune, and she furiously eats a bunch of mysterious cookies and turns into a monster bent on killing Rick. The Ligurian gets loose, eats Monster Gwyneth, and Jerry accidentally opens a chaos portal. Also, Jerry's mother's there, and Rick has to choose between taking the fate alien for himself or saving Jerry from sex with his mother. This makes no sense without a visual. I hope the visual is up and not just me talking. Rick saves Jerry and is pissed about it. Jerry later calls Rick his friend, and Rick is infuriated because that resolved his fortune, removing his unresolved fortune immortality. Also, he's stuck with Jerry as a friend.
I'm sorry I did that.
It's fine.
In the post-credit scene, the rest of the family is at the zoo gift shop, and a really confusing, murdery commercial for zebra food comes on, and Morty parses out its meaning. It's a human zoo? Space Beth said it was on Earth earlier. I don't know. This one was another largely one-off adventure, but with the rare Rick and Jerry team-up. Some notable things that occurred were that Space Beth joined in, which tracks because the last time we saw her, Morty's mom was trying to sleep with Morty's other mom. Lots of that kind of stuff in season 6 so far. But I guess Space Beth is a more regular, less sexual part of the family now, and Jerry's mom rejoined the show since her last appearance in season 1's Anatomy Park with her husband and, companion, Jacob, and she is voiced by the same actor. The one through line, unless the weird zoo pans out, is that Rick is warming up more to Jerry. Sure, he calls him the stupidest person he's ever met, but he does go through great lengths to help him, and even keeps his well-meaning but also stupid thank you fortune in the end. He yells a lot, but Rick sees Jerry's value. His incredibly dumb, largely selfish value. Plus, they can totally reuse the clothes transformation sequence and save so much money. Okay, now it's time for the Easter eggs, so listen up. It's a blues riff in B, watch me for the changes, and try to keep up.
So listen, this is a blues riff in B, watch me for the changes and try and keep up, okay?
Oops, wrong mad scientist / dumbass kid combo, but whatever. Moon Prism Power, make up! Sailor Moon's classic transformation sequence happens for Jerry, twice, because as Rick explains it, it's cheap and repeatable. Was this true for the anime series too? Oh yes. The favorite song from Rick's playlist and the song that plays over the credits is the Taxi theme song, which slaps according to Taxi Talk. Speaking of, if you go to Summer's TikTok profile Summer Song 69, there's nothing there. Come on, Adult Swim social team, this was your shot. Airport pizza places actually do smell like a kindergarten. That's the whole Easter egg.
She took a photo at the airport in front of that Wolfgang Puck that smells like a kindergarten.
When Rick camouflages himself in Jerry, he uses very recognizable photo editing tools. I'm not sure why he'd ever need to use the text tool, but move seems useful. Maybe I can Pokemon this shit. Rick uses Pokemon elemental types against each other, and yes, water types have an advantage over fire. Too bad that's not really what that guy could do.
You control water, like the water inside a guy. That's a gross power.
Rick says, I sit dead center on the alignment chart, referring to the alignment chart most typically connected to Dungeons & Dragons character morality. Do you think he's a true neutral? Really? I think it's up for debate. Rick made a reference to DiCaprio winning an Oscar in 2016 and looking like he felt empty inside.
The Revenant was a product of the tireless efforts of an unbelievable cast and crew I got to work alongside.
Seems fine to me, but I'm often fooled by acting. The old man at the fortune cookie factory referred to Margaret Howe, a researcher who jerked off a dolphin in the 1960s. That did happen. Howe attempted to communicate with dolphins named Pamela, Sissy, and Peter, and manually satisfied Peter the dolphin, sexually. She described the act as sensual, among other creepy things, and I hate that I had to look into this. Check out The Girl Who Talked to Dolphins if you want to know more for some reason. Jenneth seems to reference The Secret, a lifestyle from the OOs that posited you could get what you want by thinking about it and having good vibes. Rick says all white women believe they can control their destiny, which, you might need to fact check with someone else. I don't know. Sleepy Gary ruined Jerry's gag reflex. Probably from just guys being bros, am I right? What did you think of this episode of Rick and Morty? Will Jerry factor into the larger story a little more, or is he just doomed to be a Jerry for all eternity in every possible universe, in or outside the central finite curve? Let me know what you think in the comments, but I'm Kim Horcher. Thanks for watching this episode of Canon Fodder, and for more Rick and Morty, Evil Morty is still out there, and here's how we know. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.